Hello everyone. The other day I was browsing the web and I found this page. 25 best book, movie and TV characters on the autism spectrum. I decided to give it a quick glance to see if there's anything interesting there, and as I started scrolling down, I realized, oh god, this reeks of AI slop. Now, I'm autistic and my special interest is autistic characters, so I have some thoughts about this whole topic. Today I'd like to go over this page and point out the various errors that have been either hallucinated by AI or concocted by a very strange human person. One thing I want to point out beforehand is that this page is published on the blog of an ABA therapy provider. Just keep that in mind as we go down the list because I'm going to come back to it later. These first half dozen entries aren't too bad of a start, and by not too bad, I mean doesn't contain any egregiously wrong information. We have Raymond Babbitt from Rain Man, Christopher Boone from The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, Sean Murphy from The Good Doctor, Temple Grandin from the Temple Grandin biopic, Abed Nadir from Community, and Sam Gardner from Atypical. However, the information listed for each character is bland and generic and doesn't actually tell you anything substantial about the character or why they are considered good enough to be on this list. It's number 7 where things start to go sideways.
Billy Cranston, played by R.J. Cyler in the 2017 Power Rangers movie, is a high school student with autism. He is a genius who is able to create the Rangers' weapons and technology. His character has been praised for its positive representation of autism.
If you look at this image, you will see that this is decidedly not Billy Cranston played by R.J. Cyler in the 2017 Power Rangers movie, because that character looks like this. This is Billy Cranston, played by David Yost in the 1993 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series. The 1993 rendition of this character is not autistic. Only the version played by R.J. Cyler in the 2017 movie is autistic. So whoever wrote this article probably just looked up Billy Cranston Power Rangers on image search, picked the first image they saw, and slapped it on this article without any regard for the character they are actually talking about. Entries 8 and 9, Jerry Espenson from Boston Legal and Max Braverman from Parenthood, are more of these kind of generic and bland blurbs that don't tell you a whole lot about why these characters would be considered good or worthy of my time to watch, but there is no blatant misinformation here, so I'm not going to dwell too long on them. On to number 10.
Adam Rickey, played by Hugh Dancy in the movie Adam, is a man with Asperger's syndrome who falls in love with his neighbor. The movie explores the challenges of dating someone with autism and has been praised for its accurate portrayal of the disorder.
Broadly speaking, there is no grave misinformation here, although the phrasing is again bland and generic. My main issue with this little snippet is it says the movie explores the challenges of dating someone with autism. This phrasing emphasizes the perspective of Adam's neurotypical love interest rather than, the fact that he's the title character and he's the focal point of the movie, and that this movie is as much about the challenges of dating someone with autism as it is about the challenges of dating a neurotypical person. And this kind of phrasing just reminds you that this article is indeed published on the blog of an ABA clinic.
Brick Heck, played by Atticus Schaefer in the TV show The Middle, is a child with Asperger's syndrome. He is highly intelligent but has difficulty with social interaction. His character has been praised for its accurate portrayal of Asperger's syndrome.
My main issue with this entry is the way a child with Asperger's syndrome is phrased, because up until now all these entries have been characters whose autism is explicitly named, so who are canonically autistic, whereas Brick is not confirmed to be autistic. But the phrasing "a child with Asperger's syndrome" without any additional context does not make it clear that this is a headcanon, so an unsuspecting reader might read this article and think that Brick Heck is canonically autistic. An important point of nuance is that there is a legitimate school of thought among autistic people that also does not make the difference between a headcanon and canonically autistic characters, or that does not think this difference is important. And so you will see many legitimate blog posts and listicles by autistic people themselves that will use the phrasing "X character is autistic" when discussing headcanons. So this is a legitimate way to view the distinction between headcanon and canon. It's just not the way I view things. It's not a huge deal on a list with this many accuracy problems, but it also doesn't help. Entry number 12, we're almost halfway there.
Julia Bowman, played by Radha Mitchell in the movie Mozart and the Whale, is a woman with Asperger's syndrome who falls in love with a man with the same disorder. The movie explores the challenges of dating someone with autism and has been praised for its accurate portrayal of the disorder.
The most glaring issue is that this character does not exist. The entry says Julia Bowman, played by Radha Mitchell, but there is no character named Julia in Mozart and the Whale. Radha Mitchell plays Isabel Sorensen in this movie. The picture is of Julia Bauman Robinson, a real-life mathematician. Some people have speculated about the real-life Julia Bauman Robinson being autistic. For example, in the children's book Different Like Me, My Book of Autism Heroes, author Jennifer Elder explores various historical figures she thinks might have been autistic, among which Julia Bauman Robinson. For an entry that is only 2 sentences and a picture long, it manages to pack in an amount of misinformation that is quite frankly baffling if you have actually watched the movie or even spent 3 seconds reading its Wikipedia or IMDb page. This entry also again uses the phrase, the challenges of dating someone with autism. This one is even more bizarre than Adam, because here it is emphasizing the perspective of a neurotypical love interest which does not exist because the movie is about a romance between 2 autistic people. Isabel's Mozart to Donald's Whale.
Christopher Darden, played by Sterling K. Brown in the TV show The People v. O.J. Simpson, is a lawyer with Asperger's syndrome. He is highly intelligent but has difficulty with social interaction. His character has been praised for its accurate portrayal of Asperger's syndrome.
This is a character based on the real-life Christopher Darden, a prosecutor in the O.J. Simpson case. There is no indication that the real-life Christopher Darden is autistic, and I couldn't find anyone speculating that either the real-life Darden or the character as portrayed by Sterling K. Brown is autistic. And there is no other obvious link between either Darden or Brown and autism that could have led to this hallucination arising.
Billy Freeman, played by John Bernthal in the movie The Accountant, is a former soldier with autism who works as an accountant. He is highly skilled in martial arts and is able to defend himself when necessary. His character has been praised for its positive representation of autism.
This picture does show John Bernthal, and John Bernthal does play in the movie The Accountant. However, he portrays the character Braxton, the non-autistic brother of Christian, and Christian is the titular accountant. Christian is autistic, and the rest of the description does broadly fit his character, former soldier, works as an accountant, highly skilled in martial arts. However, there is no character called Billy Freeman in The Accountant, and I can't find any other autistic character by the name of Billy Freeman. So again, this is a very bizarre entry that can't be explained as just a lack of research or lack of care.
Irison Ura, played by Stephanie Leonidas in the TV show Defiance, is a member of an alien race with autism. She is highly skilled in combat and is able to communicate telepathically with other members of her race. Her character has been praised for its positive representation of autism.
This one isn't too bad. The autism isn't canon, but there is some fan support for it, and I've already covered my thoughts about that distinction, so I'm just going to leave this entry here and move on to the next one.
Jacob Barnett is a real-life person with autism who is a mathematician and physicist. He is also the author of the book The Spark, a mother's story of nurturing genius. His story has been an inspiration to many people with autism.
The Spark is a biography, it's not fiction, so putting Jacob Barnett on a list of characters on the autism spectrum is a bit odd. Also, the book was not written by Jacob himself, but by his mother Christine, as evidenced by the subtitle A Mother's Story.
Mary Temple Grandin is the author of the book Thinking in Pictures, My Life with Autism. She is also a professor of animal science and a speaker on autism and animal behavior. Her book has provided insight into the mind of someone with autism.
Like the previous entry, this is a biography, a real person writing about her real experiences, so putting her on a list of autistic characters is incongruent, and Temple Grandin already appeared on this list with her biopic, so her being on this list twice just comes across as sloppy and careless.
Anthony Hopkins, who played the character of Dr. Hannibal Lecter in the movie The Silence of the Lambs, has stated that he played the character as if he had Asperger's syndrome. His portrayal of the character has been praised for its accuracy.
While the actor Anthony Hopkins does have Asperger's syndrome, that is not the same as the character being autistic. I couldn't find any sources that confirm that Anthony Hopkins played Hannibal Lecter as if he had Asperger's syndrome, so this entry just appears to be mixing up the actor's diagnosis with the character's.
Sheldon Cooper, played by Jim Parsons in the TV show The Big Bang Theory, is a physicist with Asperger's syndrome. He is highly intelligent but has difficulty with social interaction. His character has been criticized for perpetuating stereotypes of autism.
A key thing in the whole Sheldon Cooper discourse that this entry completely glosses over is that Sheldon does not canonically have Asperger's syndrome. He is not diagnosed within the series, and the creators have repeatedly said that Sheldon Cooper is not autistic. Of course, that doesn't mean that he can't be relatable for autistic people or that the criticisms around perpetuating stereotypes are all wrong. For example, some very valid criticisms point out that Sheldon frequently gets made fun of for things like needing things to be a particular way or having an atypical approach to a social situation. And then it doesn't really matter whether he has a diagnosis or not. if he's just constantly made fun of for typically autistic traits. This entry also is a good example of how little interest the author shows in this topic. This entry doesn't tell me why the character is on this list, even when the author acknowledges that he has been frequently criticized. What does the author think about the character? What makes him compelling? Why do you think he's good despite the criticisms? Or what do you think of the criticisms themselves? Do you think they're valid? This entry is a very surface level engagement with the topic, and it's clear that the author doesn't have any kind of opinions of his own about any of these characters.
Augustin Burroughs is the author of the book Running with Scissors. He has stated that he has Asperger's syndrome and that his experiences with the disorder influenced his writing. His book has been praised for its insight into the mind of someone with autism.
This is another memoir rather than a fictional character. Augustin Burroughs is the younger brother of John Elder Robison, who has written about his own Asperger's in multiple books. The most well-known one is probably the memoir Look Me in the Eye. I could find no basis for the claim that Burroughs himself has Asperger's, and it definitely isn't mentioned in Running with Scissors. This entry probably came to be through a mix-up of the two brothers.
Billy Tipton, played by Scott Michael Campbell in the TV show Suits, is a lawyer with Asperger's syndrome. He is highly intelligent but has difficulty with social interaction. His character has been praised for its accurate portrayal of Asperger's syndrome.
There is no character named Billy Tipton in the series Suits. Scott Michael Campbell has played a small recurring character in the series called Father Walker. Billy Tipton in real life was a jazz musician and a transgender man, and a biography written about his life was called Suits, The Double Life of Billy Tipton, so that's possibly how the association between Billy Tipton and Suits came to be. But Billy Tipton has never, as far as I can find, been associated with autism in any way. I can't conceive of any chain of associations or mistakes a human could have made to come up with this entry.
David Rossi, played by Joe Mantegna in the TV show Criminal Minds, is a profiler with Asperger's syndrome. He is highly intelligent but has difficulty with social interaction. His character has been praised for its accurate portrayal of Asperger's syndrome.
David Rossi is not canonically autistic, and this isn't a super common headcanon either. There are multiple minor characters in Criminal Minds that appear for only one episode that are explicitly stated to be autistic, but if you want to pick a major character, Spencer Reid has a much more substantial fanbase in terms of autism. Joe Mantegna does have an autistic daughter, and he has done advocacy work for autism, so that might have gotten tangled up with the actually autistic characters and autism interpretations that exist within the Criminal Minds fandom to produce this entry.
Sam Flynn, played by Garrett Hedlund in the movie Tron Legacy, is a computer programmer with autism. He is highly skilled in computer programming and is able to enter the digital world of Tron. His character has been praised for its positive representation of autism.
Again, the autism isn't canon, but this is one that has at least some fanbase, so I'm not going to dwell on this for too long either.
Billy Costigan, played by Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie The Departed, has been speculated to have Asperger's syndrome. His character is highly intelligent but has difficulty with social interaction. His portrayal of the character has been praised for its accuracy.
Has been speculated is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. I couldn't find anyone online actually speculating that this character is autistic.
Adam Newman, played by Justin Hartley in the TV show Young and the Restless, is a businessman with Asperger's syndrome. He is highly intelligent but has difficulty with social interaction. His character has been praised for its accurate portrayal of Asperger's syndrome.
Firstly, at the time this blog post was written, Mark Grossman had been playing Adam Newman for far longer than Justin Hartley ever did, and this is another character where the connection to autism is hard to find. It's not that an autism headcanon for this character is not valid, because I am not a headcanon police, it's just that I simply couldn't find anything connecting autism and this character. No discussion from the creator or actor, no one online speculating about autism, nothing. It's very difficult to see where this entry came from or why he is on this list. You've probably noticed by now that almost all of these entries end with the phrasing has been praised for its positive representation or has been praised for its accuracy. Some of these characters are indeed beloved by many autistic people, like Abed from Community. However, with most of these characters that is not the case. Some of these characters are famously divisive, garnering both a lot of support and a lot of criticism, like Sean Murphy from The Good Doctor, Sam from Atypical, Max from Parenthood, and Adam from Adam. Some of these characters have no discernible link to autism, and so there is no one actually praising these characters for their autism representation, like Christopher Darden, Billy Costigan, and Adam Newman. And some of these characters that were supposedly praised for their representation and accuracy straight up don't exist, like Julia Bauman from Mozart and the Whale, Billy Freeman from The Accountant, and Billy Tipton from Suits. The only character here that is actually noted to have anything other than positive praise is Sheldon Cooper, and as mentioned before, has been criticized for perpetuating stereotypes of autism is an extremely bland way to describe the actual criticisms around his character and the relationship autistic people have to this character. So, where does it leave us? We have a generic listicle full of weird mistakes, probably AI generated, or at the very least extremely low effort. It's not the first one, and it certainly won't be the last one, so why does it matter? Let's scroll up a little again and look at who this post was written by. The purported author is Steven Zauderer, the CEO of Cross River Therapy, an ABA therapy company with 15 locations across 6 states. ABA, short for Applied Behavioral Analysis, is a controversial therapy most often used for autism. It has been facing growing opposition for the past 15 years or so, much of it spearheaded by autistic people themselves. One of the points of contention is money. The ABA industry is worth billions of dollars. In recent years, more and more ABA providers have been acquired by private equity. Financial incentives are undeniable, and this blog post is exemplary of that. For example, if you look at the publication date, this article appears to have been published on August 5th, 2025. But through the Wayback Machine, you can see it has been published in identical form at least 3 times before, dating all the way back to March 2023. This is almost certainly done to keep the article ranking high in search results, to make old content look new so more people find the blog and thus more people find the clinic. If you look at the other articles on this blog, you'll notice they are pumped out in industrial quantities and cover a wide variety of autism-adjacent topics. Fiction, but also causes of autism, online culture like the TBH creature, autism in women, and every possible question you could have about ABA. They're casting as wide a net as possible so that as many people as possible land on this website, because this clinic has every incentive to get as many parents as possible through their door. So, now what? An ABA provider doing something predatory. Fork Finding Kitchen, this is not new. It's a small blog, how many people even read this? Well, I read it, for one. I just stumbled upon this while looking for information about autistic characters, and this blog wasted my time with low-effort slop, and that pissed me off. Even worse, this kind of content spreads. It gets picked up by other people pumping out lazy listicles, repackaged and republished. I found at least 2 other blogs making similar weird claims. I can't tell if Cross River Therapy originated these hallucinations or simply picked them up from somewhere else, but that's almost beside the point. This stuff spreads rapidly and muddies the waters for people who are genuinely looking for information. And that's the thing, this author does not care about autistic characters. He has no actual opinions about this topic, he does not care about giving you, the reader, anything worth your time. He cares about getting parents onto his website and into his clinic, and he slaps together whatever combination of search terms will get him that. He only cares about autistic representation insofar as it can get him clicks. Can I prove with 100% certainty that this was written by AI? No, but it is sloppy, it is intellectually lazy, it is aggressively surface level, and frankly it is offensive to anyone who has ever put an actual effort into writing about autistic representation. People on Twitter screaming about their autistic blorbos, autism headcanon blogs on Tumblr, wiki editors who have written novel-length documentation about their autistic faith, anyone who has ever written about why they love or hate that new autistic character. There is so much love and passion in this subject, and this author has taken that and morphed it into a grotesque monument to bland takes and SEO optimization. On that note, let's end with something less depressing and look at some projects that actually put in effort into documenting autistic characters. Autism in the Media is a database with over 250 entries covering canon and headcanon autistic characters across TV and film. It is created by Autism 101, which is run by Jeff Owens, an autistic person. A Novel Mind is a database of children's book spearheaded by autistic author Sally J. Pla with contributions from various neurodivergent creators and librarians. It has over 1,000 entries related to various neurodivergencies, with over 200 entries specifically about autism. The Autism Books by Autistic Authors project, run by Lily Jade, has over 2,400 works relating to autism written by autistic authors, including 450 fiction books. The Compendium of Autistic and Autistic Relatable Characters by Reddit user An Alien Under a Tree has over 300 entries across all kinds of media, both canon and headcanon, and includes a breakdown of DSM-5 and ICD-11 criteria and a classification into various character archetypes. And finally, my own website, the Autistic Characters Encyclopedia, which is what I was actually trying to add to when I found this article.